Good morning, this is Ruthie, and I'm making this video for the two nicest children I ever met, whose nanny I was when I first moved to Australia. Now I'm going to tell you a very embarrassing story from my childhood, because I'm hoping that you are going to be very wise and intelligent children and listen to this story and realize how silly your nanny was and be much, much wiser. The Bible says that we can learn from other people's mistakes, and I hope you learn from mine. When I was 7 years old, my mum went to visit a friend of hers, and this friend had lots of children, and I was playing with my dollies with the little girl, and she said to me, "My brother wants to kiss you." And in the other room, her little 10-year-old brother was playing video games. So I thought that sounded like a jolly good opportunity, quite frankly. So, excuse me, I went in there and climbed up on the chair next to him, and I gave him a great big kiss on his cheek. And I was very, very impressed with myself. So when we got home, I bailed my mother up in a corner and told her proudly how I had had my first ever kiss. And my mother was not thrilled. She said, kissing is very special, and you actually need to save that for someone that you know very well. In fact, you know them so well, you're married to them. You need to really treat that with respect and not just rush around kissing boys because they want to kiss you. Well, I was quite disappointed with her reaction, but she told me very, very gently, so I wasn't too upset. Well, that's not really the embarrassing part of the story, because I didn't know. But the really bad part comes next. 2 years later, I went and stayed with my grandparents in the countryside. And they got invited to a party that their friendly farmer neighbour was throwing. And it was a wonderful party. He had a big, huge, giant tent, and inside it he had all of these great big tables laden with the most delicious food you can ever imagine in your whole life. And my little friends were there, and it was really fun, and my grandparents were having so much fun with their friends. They neglected to supervise how much food I was eating, so I was just eating and eating and eating. It was so much fun. And we had our dessert, and we were sitting under this large spreading puri tree, me and the little girls. And not far from us, there was another puri tree, and the little boys were all sitting under it. And we had loads of delicious cheesecake and ice cream and jelly beans, and we're feeling a bit bored. And one of the little girls said, "What game shall we play now?" I said something terrible. It's so embarrassing. It's really bad. I said, "Let's chase all the little boys and see if we can catch them and kiss them." It was really awful. And the girls thought that was a really good idea. So we went around and we were trying to catch the boys and kiss them. And I got one bailed up in this kind of, anyway, up next to a tree. And I said, "Why don't you want to kiss me?" In a voice of great indignation. And he looked at me and he said the exact words my mother said to me. It came out of his mouth. He said, "Because I don't really know you, and kissing is special, and I have to wait for the right person." And I was so ashamed, because I knew that was God speaking to him. And I suddenly remember what my mother had told me 2 years before, and I'd completely forgotten. And I turned around and I walked away from him, and I went home with my grandparents. And even though it had been an amazing, wonderful party, I went to bed and I just cried and cried and cried, because I realised what I'd done was so wrong. I'd ignored my mother's instruction, and I hadn't treated kissing like it was something valuable, even though I didn't do it because God stopped me. And I realised I'd upset God. So I told God, "I'm really, really, really sorry." From that day on, I did try and conduct myself in a proper way, in a holy way. I didn't always manage it, but I tried. And I'm telling you that story while you're still a little kid, that the Bible says that the love between a man and a woman is really powerful. It says that it is as unquenchable as fire, and we live in Australia, so we know what a fire can look like when it gets out of control, right? Those bushfires are scary. And as unyielding as the grave, I think it says. Anyway, It means it's as powerful as death. It's as powerful as death and fire. And that's why you have to treat it with so much respect, and you have to treat it with honor. And we live in a society that really doesn't. People sort of run around and they have boyfriends and girlfriends and they play it like it's a game. But we know, being Australians, that you cannot play with fireworks in the middle of the bush when there's a fire ban on, because many people could have their lives and their houses destroyed. And it is exactly the same with the attraction between a man and a woman. You have to be so careful, and you need to listen to your parents, because I know you do have godly parents who will tell you the right way to behave. And don't be like your silly nanny who didn't listen to her parents and ended up very embarrassed chasing a boy under a puri tree trying to kiss him, because I know you can do better than that. I know you can do better than me. So love you lots. Bye bye.